Hello everyone. So our topic for today is chapter number 9, map scale. Now can you tell, if you can see the figure 9.1, you are seeing that a painter is taking an estimate of a scene, right? Like he's having that pen or a brush in his hand and he's just measuring that, right? And if you see figure 9.2, you can see that students are looking at map, right? After studying this picture, have a discussion in the class and answer the following questions. Why is the painter holding the pencil in his hand in that particular way? So why do you think he's holding that? Because I guess he wants to measure the height, right? Height को measure करने के लिए maybe. What is your opinion? This would be your homework, okay? आपको क्या लगता है कि उन्होंने पेन ऐसे standing position में क्यों रखा है? Okay, so all of these would be your homework. You have to write your opinions. How can the scene of this large landscape be depicted on paper? कॉमन सेंस वाला क्वेश्चन है, राइट? कि सीन तो इतना बड़ा है सामने बट कैनवास इतना छोटा सा है. सो हाउ कैन द एंटायर पिक्चर बी एडेड इन द कैनवास? Again, your homework, again you have to think and assume, right? How can the scene of this, how is it possible to view all the countries of the world on one map? Again the same question, there are so many countries in our world, right? And just एक one map पे how everything is visible. And what is common to both these pictures? And there is one common thing in both of these pictures. So what do you think, according to you, what is common in this both pictures? You have to write, okay? So again, this part would be your homework. Geographical explanation. The painter first takes an estimated scale of the scene in front of him with a pencil. After that, he draws a sketch on the paper. The painter does this so that the picture is drawn to scale. In the preparation of maps, the picture is first surveyed. At that time, after special observation, a scale is fixed. Using this scale, an outline map of the whole earth or a part of it is prepared, right? That what was painter doing? He was just assuming, right? एक assumption ले रहे थे वो कि okay, ये tree का length उतना होगा, height उतना होगा, waves इतने होंगे, तो waves का direction, waves का length कितना होगा. So he was assuming, right? He was making an assumption, or you can say he was making an estimation कि कितना हो सकता है. And then he was drawing it on the sheet of paper or the canvas, right? So why does he do so? Because to get an estimation. In the same way, when we talk about maps, right? So maps में भी वैसा ही होता है. पहले observation is being done, okay? Once your observation is clear कि okay fine आपको क्या क्या बनाना है, then measurements are being taken, okay? And after measurements, the entire output is being created. Easy? Try this. In order to measure the height of students, make markings on the wall from the ground up to height of 180 centimeter with the help of a ruler. Okay, तो आपको क्या करना है, ग्राउंड से लेके 180 सेंटीमीटर पे एक मार्क करना है. जहाँ पे भी वो 180 सेंटीमीटर आएगा वहाँ पे you have to make a mark. Measure the height of each student and note it down. With the same wall as a backdrop, take a photograph of the students in group of 5. Okay, now let us see what is on the next page. Take prints of the photograph. With the help of ruler, measure the heights of your friends from the photograph. Complete the following table with the actual height and as per the height in the photograph. Calculate the ratio. The ratio of Gopal's height has been calculated and shown below. Okay, so what they have done, you have to measure it from the scale, like from the background. एक अपना जो blackboard है उसके ऊपर से, and the one which you see in photograph. तो दोनों के height का ratio निकालना. And there is one example which is given, like there is a student named Gopal. उनका height photograph के हिसाब से it was 10 centimeter and the actual height, like the from ground to blackboard, was 130 centimeter. Okay, so the ratio was 1:13, right? हम लोग को कैसे ratio निकालना है? As per the photograph upon actual height. So in the same way rest of students का निकालने बोला है. From the above table, you must have realized that there is difference between the actual height and the height in the photograph, right? कि जो photo में दिखती है and जो real height है उसमें difference है. You must have also realized that in the photograph, everyone's height has decreased in the same proportion. So if you find out all of the rest example, you will see that there is this a pattern which is being followed कि सबकी height जो photograph में है ना उसमें decrease हो रही है, and that too with the same ratio. The same principle is applicable in the case of map scale. Okay, so while we talk about map scale also, it happens in the same way. ये जो real measurements होते हैं वो actual में map पे थोड़ा कम दिखता है. So let us see what is it. Geographical explanation. We obtain information about the earth or some specific part of it from a globe or map. While preparing a map in order to get the actual ground distance onto paper, some conversions have to be made using geometry and mathematics. The use of map scale is useful for this conversation. Let us get acquainted with the aspects of map, right? That whenever you want to find something on map related to any country or any place, what do? You search it on map. या तो फिर आप वो जो अपना map या globe होते हो उसके ऊपर you see it, right? So that is also the same case कि उसमें कैसे होता है, countries को maps पे बताया जाया रहता है. ओके, तो उसमें भी उनके observations लिए रहते हैं, measurements लिए रहते हैं. So how do they take it? With the help of geometry and mathematics. So let us see what is it further. Can you tell? Now this is something which they have asked you. The actual distance between the two villages of Sahil and Minal is 50 kilometer. Okay. The distance between the villages of Minal and Pragna is 20 kilometer. And between Sahil and Pragya's villages 60 kilometer. Figure 9.4 shows the location of these villages on a map. The scale of the map is 1 centimeter, that is 10 kilometer. Measure the distance on the map and find out which village belongs to whom. Note the names and the distance. Okay, तो पहले क्या बोला है कि there is 2 villages, साहिल का and एक मिन्नल का. ओके, दोनों के बीच का डिस्टेंस कितना है, 50 किलोमीटर्स, राइट. अब मिन्नल से लेके प्रज्ञा का, ओके, मिन्नल एंड प्रज्ञा इज़ 20 किलोमीटर एंड बिटवीन साहिल एंड प्रज्ञा इज़ 60 किलोमीटर्स. फाइन, के दोनों का मिन्नल प्रज्ञा का 20 बताया है, साहिल एंड प्रज्ञा का 60 बताया है. देन दे हैव शोन यू दैट 1 सेंटीमीटर का स्केल उन्होंने 10 किलोमीटर लिया है. So you need to measure the distance, okay, on the map and find out which village belongs to whom. अभी आप distance कैसे find out करोगे? Any idea? Sorry, you don't need to actually find the distance, but distance तो हम लोग को scale दिया गया है and we have the distance like 20 kilometer, 60, 50. You have to find out which village belongs to whom. When you find, when you measure the distance on the map, if you make the map, so you can do that and you have to just note the names and distances. Okay, so आप लोग try करो, give it a try. If you have understood the question, try and let's see कि आपके answers क्या आते हैं. Geographical explanation. In a map scale, it is essential to correlate the distance between 2 points on a map and the actual distance between these 2 points on the ground. Okay, तो map scale में क्या होता है that there should be a correlation, कि एक relation होना चाहिए कि जो real life में जो ground के measurements है एंड कि जो मैप में मेजरमेंट्स बताए हैं उनमें एक को रिलेशन होना चाहिए. द रेशियो ऑफ मैप डिस्टेंस टू द ग्राउंड डिस्टेंस इज मैप स्केल. सो व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय मैप स्केल? कि एक रेशियो होता है किसका, मैप डिस्टेंस टू द ग्राउंड, द रेशियो ऑफ मैप डिस्टेंस टू द ग्राउंड डिस्टेंस, कि जो मैप का डिस्टेंस है एंड उसके नीचे जो ग्राउंड का डिस्टेंस है. ओके, तो जो मैप पे 2 चीज़ों का डिस्टेंस बताया है एंड जो रियल लाइफ में 2 चीज़ों का डिस्टेंस है उनका रेशियो क्या बोलते हैं हम लोग, मैप स्केल. सो दैट इज कॉल्ड एज मैप स्केल. ओके, सो द रेशियो ऑफ मैप डिस्टेंस अपॉन ग्राउंड डिस्टेंस. टू ड्रॉ अ मैप टू scale it is essential to know the ground distance. Okay, because ground distance होना ज़रूरी है when you want to plot a map or when you want to draw a map. These distances are measured during surveying. While preparing a map based on the distance, a suitable ratio is selected. After the preparation of the map, it is necessary to mention the map scale. This facilitates map reading and helps in understanding the distance on the ground. There are 3 ways of expressing the scale on a map, right? तो अभी ये सारे डिस्टेंस कब मेजर करते हैं, जब सर्वे करते हैं ना वो लोग, उसी टाइम पे वो लोग वो डिस्टेंस मेजर करते हैं. एंड यू हैव टू मेक श्योर दैट यू आर गिविंग दैट रीडिंग. अभी जैसे यहाँ पे देखो नीचे हम लोग को स्केल बताया गया है दैट दे हैव टेकन 1 सेंटीमीटर इज इक्वल टू 10 किलोमीटर. सो इवन दैट रीडिंग शुड बी गिवन, ओके, व्हाइल यू आर मेकिंग अ मैप, सो दैट इट बिकम्स ईजियर फॉर समवन हु इज रीडिंग इट. अगर हम लोग को ये दिया ही नहीं होता डिस्टेंस, इट वुड हैव बिकम सो डिफिकल्ट फॉर अस टू to understand कि 1 centimeter इन लोग का क्या है. So whenever you are making a map, make sure that you are giving the scale over there. Now there are three ways of expressing the map. Let us see which one are they. First one is verbal scale. The second one is numerical, and third one is linear or graphical. In figure 9.5, map is given. Okay, there is a map which is given, Indian map. All the above methods of map scale are shown on the map. Okay, so all of these three are given below. Let us see, we'll understand each fully. Carefully note the different ways of writing the scale. Now, what is verbal scale? Let us see. A verbal scale is one in which distance are expressed with the use of words indicating measurements. Example, if the scale is 1 centimeter is equals to 60 kilometer, then centimeter is the unit of distance on the map and kilometer is the unit of distance on ground. Basically, तो verbal conversation हम लोग बोलते हैं ना, जो हम लोग मुंह से करते, like verbal is when you say it. Okay, so यहाँ पे क्या बोला गया है, that verbal is when you indicate it using measurements. तो यहाँ पे जैसे we know map scale हम लोग ने क्या देखा, ratio of map on the like the distance on map upon distance on ground, right? distance जो map पे बताया and distance जो real life में ground पे है, उसको हम लोग बोलते हैं ना, हम लोग ने देखा अभी recently map scale. So over here also they are saying the same thing, that over here they are using centimeter and kilometer. So why centimeter? Because centimeter is the unit on the map, like the distance on the map पे जो distance है उनको centimeter में बोला है, and the distance which is on ground, that is called as kilometer. So whenever measurements are used such as centimeter or kilometer or stuff like that, then it is called as verbal scale. Clear? Talking about the second one, the scale is expressed as a ratio. Okay, so over here the scale is expressed in the form of ratio. Example, 1:60 lakh represents the distance on the map and 60 lakh represents the distance on the ground. Is 60 lakh times the map distance. It is also known as representative fraction. Okay, so basically इसको क्या बोलते हैं, representative fraction, the ratio on the ground on the ratio on the map. Now why is it called as representative fraction? Because numbers are being used and it is only used for representing things. In this scale only numbers are used. This scale is also written as 1:60 lakh times. In this method there are no words used indicating measurements. The same unit used for figures on the left hand side is also used for the figures on the right hand side, right? कि यहाँ पे पहले कैसे था, ऊपर वाले में verbal scale में it was like the one which was represented on the left hand side was in centimeter and the one was represented on the right hand side was in kilometer. But in this both of them are represented in the form of numbers, right? There are no units, like the units is same, मतलब जो numbers है, जो unit है वो दोनों जगह same है, and that is why it is called as representative fraction. And the third one is linear scale. The scale is shown graphically on a map. The distance between any 2 points on a map is measured with the help of linear or graphical scale. Okay, so कोई भी दो places के बीच का distance if we have to find out, then we find out with the help of this linear scale. If a ruler is not available, then a compass, a blade of grass, or for curves a thread can be used for measuring the actual distance between places on map. You will understand this with the help of the next exercise. Okay, so if in case a ruler is not available, so you can even use the compass. Curves of thread तो आप लोग ने देखा ही होगा, thread से आपने कभी distance measure किया ही होगा, but even the blade of grass can be used. So we will see an exercise so that we get to know it better. The importance of graphical scale. Very often it is necessary to reduce or enlarge the original map. During that process, the scale of the map changes. There are many methods of reducing or enlarging maps. One of them, okay, so very often we do that, right, कि अगर हम लोग को कभी मैप को जूम करना है या बहुत बड़ा मैप है ना, अगर if we want to reduce it, so we do make that particular changes, but while you do that changes obviously the scale would change, right, कि जो measurements उन्होंने लिया है, अभी समझो वही मैप को मैं छोटा कर रही हूँ तो the measurement would change, right, so this measurement can be reduce or enlarge in many methods. Okay, so one of them is by taking a photocopy of the original map and reducing or enlarging it. When the map is reduced or enlarged by this method, the verbal and the numerical scale on the original map does not change. Okay, so one is the case when you can do कि आप क्या कर सकते हो, वही पर्टिकुलर मैप का फोटोकॉपी ले लेने का. ओके, सो व्हेन यू टेक द फोटोकॉपी, नाउ यू कैन एनलार्ज इट, और आपको बड़ा करना तो बड़ा कर सकते हो, छोटा करना तो छोटा कर सकते हो. इससे क्या होएगा कि जो स्केल दिया था वो तो एज इट इज़ सेम ही रहेगा, राइट, बिकॉज देर इज़ नो चेंजेस विच वी आर डूइंग इन द फॉर्म ऑफ स्केल. But if a graphical scale is drawn on the original map, then the scale changes as per the changing size of the map. Although the font size of the verbal and numerical scale changes, but the value does not change. Hence, graphical scales are drawn in atlas and wall maps. But graphical scale में क्या होता है student? The scale would change, right? पर वो कैसे change होगा? As per you are changing the size of the map. के जैसे जैसे आप size of map change कर रहे हो वैसे वैसे scale change होगा, बराबर. तो इसमें क्या होता है? Font size and numerical scale change हो जाएगा, but the values won't be changed. Although the font size of the verbal and numerical scale changes, वही मैंने बोला, the value does not change, and hence graphical scales are drawn in atlas and wall maps. and इसके लिए हम लोग graphical maps कहाँ पे यूज़ करते हैं, कहाँ पे ड्रॉ करते हैं? atlas या तो फिर wall maps. जो wall maps बनाते हैं ना उसमें भी वो वही ड्रॉ करते हैं. why? because the measurements over there does not changes. Try this in figure 9.6. Some locations within the premises of a university is given. The distance between the statue and the entrance gate is 0.5. Okay, तो जो statue दी है बीच में and जो entrance which is given on the right, वो दोनों का बीच का distance कितना है? 0.5 kilometer. Measure this distance and determine the scale. So what you have to do students, you have to measure the distance. कि आपको distance उसका measure करना है and you have to determine the scale. के जो scale रहेगी ना, जैसे हम लोग ने last time में पढ़ा था कि 1 centimeter इतना है या particular distance, उनका scale आपको देना है. So you will do this as homework. So this would be again your homework. You just have to try it. Write the verbal scale, numerical scale and graphical scale in the vacant box in the sketch. On the basis of roads shown below the two locations, calculate the actual distances. Okay, so यहाँ पे आपको scale दिए गए हैं 1 centimeter is equal to 1 kilometer. You have to find the distance. Okay, देखो, you can see figure 9.7. So healthcare to library. So where is healthcare? दिख रहा है आपको हेल्थ केयर एंड लाइब्रेरी कहाँ पे है? तो आपको उन दोनों का बीच का डिस्टेंस फाइंड करना है. देन यू हैव टू फाइंड ऑफिस टू लेक. तो ऑफिस कहाँ पे है एंड लेक कहाँ पे है? दिख रहा है ना आप लोगों को सभी को? ऑडिटोरियम टू ऑफिस. So that is how you have to find the distances. Okay, you have to calculate the actual distances के जो दो locations है उनके बीच की distance कितनी रहेगी वो आपको find out करना है. Now coming towards large scale and small scale map. On the basis of figure 9.7, calculate the distance of various locations from the shopping mall and write it in the table form. So you just have to write it in the table form. Table नीचे दिया गया है, see. In mathematics, when we compare two fractions, then the fraction with the smaller number in the denominator has a higher value. Map scales are not in fractions but they are in ratio. The same principle of fraction is used while comparing ratios. Hence, a numerical scale of 1 is to 10,000 is called a large scale, and a numerical scale of 1 is to 50,000 called as a small scale. तो यहाँ पे भी वही बता रहे हम लोग, when we compare fractions, so what do we do? बट यहाँ पे कैसा है, सी देर इज़ नॉट फ्रैक्शंस राइट, ओवर हियर वी हैव सीन इट इज़ इन रेशियोज. तो यहाँ पे भी वैसा ही है स्टूडेंट्स, दैट द वन विद अ लार्जर नंबर, लाइक द वन विद अ स्मॉलर नंबर हैज़ अ लार्जर स्केल. सो 1 is to 10,000 तो वो लार्जर स्केल पे होगा, एंड 1 is to 50,000 would be on a small scale. When a part of the ground covers a small area on the map, they are called as small scale maps. Okay, तो small scale maps क्या होता है कि that is a part of a ground जिसने एक मैप का छोटा सा small area जिसने कवर किया होता है ना, वो पर्टिकुलर पार्ट को हम लोग बोलते हैं small scale maps. That means when a small scale is used to show the information about a large part of earth, these are called as small scale maps. Easy way में बराबर ना, कि अगर कोई large part है, हम लोग मैप में देखते हैं ना, ग्लोब में देखते हैं. अभी मैप में कैसे होता है ना, ऑस्ट्रेलिया या अमेरिका इज सच ए ह्यूज कंट्री राइट, बट उसमें मैप में कितना छोटा सा दिखाया गया है, तो उसी को बोलते हैं स्मॉल स्केल मैप, दैट द लार्ज पार्ट ऑफ अर्थ is showed in a small scale. Maps in an atlas and world maps are example of small scale maps. As I said you right now, most of the maps in an atlas are an example of small scale. तो always remember जो distance of map है and distance on ground है, तो verbal scale में कैसा होगा, verbal में हम लोग ने देखा, they give us the measurements. So 1 centimeter is equal to 60 kilometer. While talking about graphical, they give us while talking about numerical, they give us in the form of numbers, right? हम लोग ने देखा ना कि numbers के form में होता है, and no measurements or no alphabets are used, खाली numbers used होते हैं. That is 1 is to 60 lakhs. And then we have come down distance on the map, मतलब graphical scale, उसमें कैसा था students, it is given in the form of स्केल के मेजरमेंट्स के हिसाब से दिया गया रहता है. तो दिस इज़ लाइक अ शॉर्ट रिविजन ऑफ ऑल ऑफ द थ्री क्या बोलते हैं, हाउ वी कैन एक्सप्लेन इट और हाउ वी कैन शो इट. जो वर्बल, न्यूमेरिकल एंड ग्राफिकल, जो ये तीन था, उसका जो शॉर्ट वे में कैसे बताया है वो यहाँ पे दिया गया है. Now think about it. What is the need to use map scale? And think about it and write a paragraph. That why do you think map scale is required? What is the use of map scale? According to you, you have to write it down. Always remember, on the map, the left side of the scale shows the distance on the map and the right side shows the actual distance on the ground. तो हमेशा ये चीज़ याद रखना. ओके, what is the left side shows, ये अंडरलाइन कर लो चाहिए. तो the left side shows the distance on the map, की जो मैप पे डिस्टेंस है वो लेफ्ट साइड बताता है, and the right side shows the actual distance on the ground. Now, always remember students, what are different types of map, what all area does it include, okay, then what all information it shows you, and what all are the examples of such maps, okay. So there are types of maps such as large scale, small scale, then area which they include, one of them includes small areas, one of them include large areas. Then the second is information, that what kind of information do they give you, do they show you more details or do they show you less details, what are the example of such maps, okay, maps of village, school, agriculture, field, or sometimes atlas map, country map, etc. okay. So all of these things you should always remember. Coming to the next part, do you know different countries use different units of measurement? This could become a limitation while reading a map. Hence, it is necessary to have a numerical scale on map.
Numerical scale is a global scale, right? That different countries may use different measurements. कि किसी का measurement कुछ अलग हो सकता है, किसी का कुछ अलग हो सकता है to measure the maps. But when you describe units, or when you describe it in a numerical form, it is a global scale, okay? कि वो सबका same ही होता है. Use your brain power. Now again, this would be a homework. Try finding out solutions, students. If you guys don't get the answer, then come to me, we will discuss. Okay, coming towards the next page. So yeah, that is how we come to the end of the chapter. Now on page number 67 there is exercise questions, okay? And I believe that if you have understood the chapter very well, the concept very well, the exercise questions you can easily do as homework. So the exercise questions would be a homework. Okay, student? Okay, then we'll see you all in the next session. Till then, bye bye and take care. Bye.